Picture this. You and your partner are out on a romantic date. First a movie, and then a fancy dinner with a few friends. You finish eating and suddenly your partner stands up and bends down on one knee next to you, pulling out a gorgeous diamond ring and asks, "Will you marry me?" The tradition of the engagement ring has changed drastically since it first became a thing. Engagement rings have transitioned from the traditional man asking the woman to marry him and presenting her with an engagement ring to the woman asking and giving the man the ring. An engagement ring is only one small part of a person's marriage. The significance of the engagement ring has changed in today's standards. And now that you know what you're in for, let's begin. Engagement rings have transitioned from the traditional man asking the woman to marry him and presenting her with an engagement ring to now it's more acceptable and becoming increasingly popular for the woman to ask and give the man an engagement ring. It has also transitioned from the norm in the fact that same-sex couples are now more open about their relationship. So now more same-sex couples are proposing, either one partner receiving a ring or both partners receiving an engagement ring. Back in the 1940s, a man would propose to a woman with an engagement ring, and that's the way it was done. In today's society, it is now more acceptable for the woman to propose, or for both partners to propose and wear an engagement ring. The purpose of an engagement ring used to be a way for a man to claim a woman as his. Nowadays, the purpose has shifted from gender stereotypes and is about making a commitment to marrying the person you love, whether they're female or male. In the article Equal Rights, some men are wearing engagement rings. Tradition takes backseat to equality as guys show the world they're taken, written in 2000 by author Casey Greenfield, tells a story of how the traditional engagement ring is changing. When Jim Hardwood, an architect in New York, proposed to Georgianne Valley, he gave her his grandmother's antique engagement ring. He complained about the pressure men faced in selecting the ring and making that nerve-wracking formal proposal. On a walk in Central Park 2 weeks later, Valley turned the tables and proposed to him with his own engagement ring. "I thought it was totally romantic and excellent," said Hardwood, who married Valley in June of last year. He wears his white gold engagement band with his yellow gold wedding band. Now this story is a prime example on how the tradition of engagement rings is changing. Along with a woman giving a man an engagement ring, there is now same-sex couples giving each other engagement rings. In the article, "I Married a Cute Girl," written by Hillary Quinn in 2009, lesbian couple Jennifer Duncan and Stacy Book talk about how they wanted a more traditional wedding to prove their relationship could withstand anything. So, both women proposed, and they both gave one another a diamond solitaire ring. Now moving on, an engagement ring is only one small part of a person's marriage. The significance of the engagement ring has changed in today's standards. Instead of giving a big, expensive diamond ring, some people nowadays get smaller, less expensive rings or customized rings that differ from the traditional diamond. Some couples in today's society also share the expense instead of it only being on the man. In today's society, women play a bigger role in helping with the engagement. For some, they help pick out and pay for the engagement ring. Some other women go with smaller, less expensive engagement rings because they would rather spend the money on more important things like making a down payment on a house. Another example would be, instead of spending the money on a big expensive engagement ring, they would spend the money on the honeymoon or the actual wedding. Now, buying an engagement ring can usually be a very expensive ordeal and can require months of paychecks, but some couples have decided to share the expense. In the 2019 article from the Tribune Content Agency and written by Jordan Carlos, in a continuing trend of bucking tradition, a growing number of young couples are opting for alternative engagement rings, replacing the standard Tiffany's fare with colored gems, locally designed bands, or ethically sourced stones. For some, it's a way to save money. Others want to tailor their rings to their personalities. In all instances, it's shaken up the jewelry industry. Now, to conclude, in this speech, I have covered the tradition from the typical tradition of the engagement ring to the significance of the engagement ring in today's society. The tradition of the engagement ring has changed drastically since it first became a thing. Now, let's go back to the beginning, where your partner just asked you to marry them, with a few adjustments. After the movie and dinner, your partner bends down on one knee next to you, pulls out a simple, custom sapphire ring that you helped pick out, and asks, "Will you marry me?" And you respond with bending down on one knee and asking, "Will you marry me?"